Alright, everyone. Again, welcome to the lounge. Also, BVI pilots. Uh, Glad to be here with you guys. We are going to be doing a flight from San Diego, California to Miami. Before we take off, though, I'm going to treat this with the respect that it needs for giving you guys a tutorial on getting started from Code and Dark. I'm also going to be going over some of the stuff with Say Intentions. Now, I will not be covering all the settings on Say Intentions, but being I'm using it, I'm going to be including it a little bit. So I'll touch on that just a little bit, okay? I want to thank you guys for being here. We got Rook, which is viewing us through, I don't know if he's tuned in through the Lounging with John YouTube or BVI Pilots, but a friend of mine from online that I excited to get to eventually hang out with him on a server and do all that. It's, networking is everything. Making new friends. We're not a big community as it is, so the more friends we can make, I think the better, right? All right, so we have everything loaded, okay? Well, I got to load first officer. For some reason, it didn't load the CDU or MCD. There was something that didn't load the last time I tried to do it, and I don't know why it did that, but it did. It was being stupid, and I might have tried. Maybe I rushed it along a little bit. I don't know. But okay, so before I get started, I want to show you how to go into the pmdg and set your Code in Dark and save it that way. So that way when you start it out, it'll be that way. So I'm going to turn on the battery to the airplane just for a minute. Okay, I got to go down here to I got to turn the battery on, so alright, so I got the so you turn your battery on. First of all, if you're starting out, you're not going to be Code in Dark if you're trying to get it to Code in Dark, right? So, but if you are trying to do that and your airplane's all the way off, just pull up the panel for the 737, the cockpit panels, which is going to be left bracket Control P. So I'm going to do left bracket Control C. And we got the menu here, main menu on the CDU. So you got less FMC. Well, I say less, that's just a less symbol. I probably shouldn't say the less and greater, but you got the FMC, rec, greater, DLNK, don't worry about that. DFDAU, I don't know what that is, don't worry about that. You're going to go to where it says setup. So that's going to be right soft 4. Once you do that, you're going to go to you're going to do right soft 4 again, okay? Alright, and it's going to put you in the menu of the different options. So what you have here, you got approach, apron long, climb, Code Dark, without just Code Dark by itself. Don't get that confused. I'm going to go to the second page by hitting page down. Then the very first one is Code Dark GPU. Then you got Cruise, Final, Hangar, Runway, Taxi, Temporary Flight, and then that's it. So I'm going to go back to the second page here, line 1, and you would hit left soft 1. Executes. That saves it at that state. It doesn't, if your plane's running, it's not going to actually shut your plane off with that setting. You got to do that in another spot, and I'm going to show that to you. So let's back up, go back a menu with left soft 6, which I used the F1 through F10. Well, F12. Sorry. F1 through F12. So F1 to F6 is all your left soft keys, and then F7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is your right soft keys. So I'm going to do left soft 6. It goes back to the main menu again. I'm just doing that for just so I make sure you guys know exactly where it's at. So I'm going to hit right soft 4, which is going to be F10. Okay.
Rook Talon. 2 personally prefer Control or Alt and the numbers.
And then state load is at the top second line, so right soft 2. And it remembers what I was on, so it says load panel state, and the very first one is Code Dark GPU. So I'm going to hit left soft 1 to show you what it happens. Remember, we got power right now, but I'm getting ready to execute it. And there you go, that's what happens. It shuts it down. Okay? So then you can close your 737 panel, close your CDU window because you don't need it right now, and that is your code in dark. I found out that most people, even real pilots, when they're simming, they like to use code in dark, just like we do, even though it's not typical. Hold on 1 second, guys. It's not the way it is in real life. Like most of the time when a pilot gets on the airplane, it's not in code and dark like that. I mean, you know that from just when you get on an airplane, there's already power and stuff on the plane too in real life, right? So anyways, so that's the first thing you need to do. All right, because I mean, this is I'm giving you the code in dark tutorial here. All right, so Bill, welcome to the lounge. Every now and then you guys are going to hear me talk to people if they say something, but otherwise I'm going to try to keep my focus on this to get through the tutorial part so I can end the tutorial part of the video, not the live stream, but the video. Alright, so if you're watching on live stream and you have questions, do me a favor, write them down if you have to, and then when we're done with the tutorial, please feel free to ask me. I'm going to ask anybody if they have questions after we're done. That way nobody's left in the dark. Okay. Alright, so I've got my Microsoft loaded. We're taking off from San Diego, and we are flying over to Miami. I've got Say Intentions loaded, and I've got first officer loaded. Now, do not hit the connect button on first officer yet. If you're using Say Intentions, do not do that yet, because me personally, because I have a membership with Say Intentions, if you don't have Say Intentions right now and you are interested in getting it, we are working on a partnership. So if we get that, we can get you guys a discount. Okay. Also, if anybody wants to be a beta tester for Say Intentions, let me know. You can even tell me right here on the live stream, John, I like to do beta. I will send you a link. I have 5 people that I can send links to. If you would like to be one of those people, let me know. I'll send you a link, and you will get to be a beta tester for Say Intentions as well. Doesn't cost anything to do the beta. It's the more people we can get doing beta that's visually impaired, the better, because we want to keep this on the up and up, right? All right. So if you're thinking of it later, you're watching a video and you're like, oh, I want to do that, email me. Let me know you want to do beta, and if it's still available, then I can probably get you a link. So if you want to email me at 737flights@gmail.com. That's 737flights with an S at gmail.com. All right. So back to Say Intentions here. I hit new flight. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect to SkyOps. That's because I got a membership. And alright, so I'm connecting to that channel. And this is what I'm about to do. And then it's going to text me too when I request my job. It actually texts my phone number. I can actually request IFR. I'll show that to you in a minute. But right now we're going to request a VIP job to Miami. Gold Star International requesting a VIP to Miami, Florida. Okay.
Mission on request. This will take a minute or two.
Now watch. My phone will go off.
(3:41 p.m.) 2 notifications. Messages. Collapse stack. Now. Say Intentions flight line. Text message.
Gold Star International 9 Delta Whiskey. Alright. We got a new VIP mission for you. Your task is to transport a tech developer to a startup pitch event in Miami, Florida. The VIP is known for their innovative ideas and is eager to make a strong impression at the event. Ensure a smooth and comfortable flight for the VIP and their small
Federal
entourage.
Pimple.
We're
Transporting.
sending your crew over now. You can expect to be airborne in a
Going
few
to be
minutes.
transporting a hold on one second.
Well, hello, Captain. Just getting settled and the luggage loaded. We'll let you know as soon as we are secure.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to take care of something. Alright, so we've got our VIP requested. So what I'm going to do now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and connect back to ground, and then now we can hit connect on first officer. So now it's going to happen. We're going to be waiting for first officer to get in.
We are secure. Ready to go, Captain.
There we go. We're secure with our VIPs.
Good afternoon, Captain.
And just as a note to anybody that's, going through this tutorial, at any given time, don't try and skip things. You skip things, you break things. Okay, so no skipping, no rushing. Take your time. Okay, that's important.
Messages. Messages. Collapse stack. Now. Brandon Armstrong. GKC. Text message. Button. Message. Expanded. Face ID. Show notification. Flashlight. Camera. Flashlight. Show note. Face ID. Messenger. 12 minutes ago. Messages. 2 minutes ago. Say intentions. Flight line. Text. Messages. Now. Brandon Armstrong. GKC. Text message. Button. Messages. Face ID. Messages. Message. Text apps. Messages. Brandon Armstrong. Hey Johnny. So Casey is wanting to start a drug recovery program in the church, and he wanted me to reach out to you so that you could get with him to get them started since you have experience running those programs. 3:44 p.m. Vertical scroll bar. Apps. Button. Dictate. Double tap to start dictation.
I would be very excited to help with that period. That would be amazing. That would be an amazing opportunity for me as well.
Very excited. That would be amazing. That would be messages. Send. Button. Send message. Send. Dictate. Button.
Alright, sorry guys, I was dealing with some other stuff. Okay, so we're waiting on first officer to do what he's doing. I'll talk about the first officer settings file after we do all this, because with it set the right way, you're going to know when it's time for you to start doing stuff. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Right now, we're going to just wait for first officer to do his thing, okay? He's going through, making sure everything is set, making sure everything is where it needs to be, doing tests.
055 at 11. Visibility
Here's
10.
our ATIS,
Sky conditions, broken at 3600 feet.
broken at
Broken at
3,600 feet,
20,000 feet.
broken at 20,000
Temperature
feet,
17.
temperature
Dew
17,
point
dew point 9,
Altimeter 3019er.
altimeter 3019,
Density altitude 0 feet.
altitude is 0 feet,
Arriving and departing runway 27.
arriving and
Caution
departing
bird
runway
activity.
27, there's caution for
Advise
bird
on course
activity.
heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short
So there's
instructions.
birds in the area
Advise
today.
on initial contact. You
Today,
have
them birds
information
can cause
Bravo.
some serious problems. All right, we have information Bravo.
San Diego International Airport. Information Bravo. 1951 Zulu.
1951
Wind 255 at 11.
255 at 11.
Visibility 10.
Visibility is 10 miles. What's going to happen when he's ready, he's going to tell me that he's ready for, he's going to say, check the SID and stars. And then that's when we're going to start looking at the flight plan. No 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 no. It's a waiting game, folks, but it's just how it works. So we're just waiting for him to do his thing.
Would you mind checking the SIDS and stars?
Alright, there it is. So we're going to do left bracket,
Heading out for my
control
checks.
C. This is our departure and arrival, so we're going to do left soft 1 for our departure. And now we're going to be looking at alright, so we're taking off from 27, which is right soft 2. And then you're going to look at your flight plan to know what waypoints you need to be selecting. And we're selecting the ZZ004. So left's off 4. And now to know that it went there, it'd be at the top on the first page, and there it is. And we're looking for GBN, which is going to be left's off 3. So now you can tell what you got there because it says ZZ004 selected grader. Runway 27 selected grader. Then line 2 says GBN less symbol CEL for selected. So we know it's selected, it's ready to execute. So Alt E. Okay. The departure's done. Do Alt A. You're going to go back to your departure and arrival. You're going to do right soft 2 for your arrival airport. Alright. In this case, it's going to be Miami. We are 26 left. Frogs 4. So 26 left, frogs 4 is going to be what I'm looking for here. Which is going to be line 4. See, it says on the right side ILS 26L. That's line 4. So I'm going to do right soft 4 because it's on the right side. Always do your runway first. Alright, so I'm looking for frogs. It's going to be line 2 on the second page on the left side, so left soft 2. That put frogs 4 at the top on the top line on the front page. And on the right side is the runway we selected. Then GAWKS. GAWKS is going to be left soft 5. Everything's selected. It shows it's selected just like I told you before. I'm going to execute it with Alt E. Now it says execute key off. That means it's done. So we're going to do Alt G. Go back to our leg page. And then I'm going to Alt Tab to my main window here for first officer. Tab down to plan page. And then I'm going to tell my co-pilot to get our IFR so I know what altitude to put in there. I'm going to go ahead and get our IFR for Miami, please. So I need to know what that first altitude is. As you're tabbing through, you'll come to, it'll show you your...
Sure thing, John. I'll get our IFR clearance for Miami.
Show you your speeds for V1 and V2 and VR. Then you see the runway there. It says
Lindbergh clearance,
27.
Gold Star 9er Delta Whiskey, requesting our IFR clearance, please.
And the next thing I come to, it just says 0 because there's no altitude there. So I got to see what altitude that we're given for takeoff. Not our cruise altitude, but for our, I think it's called initial altitude, maybe. But it's going to be right before your cruise altitude. You'll know because your cruise altitude's already in there. So it's one box right before that. So if you get to your cruise altitude, just shift tab one time, and that's where
Gold Star International 9er Delta Whiskey, cleared to Miami via the Zoo 4 departure. Then as filed, climb and maintain 4,000. Expect flight level 33010 minutes after departure.
4,000.
Departure on 9.6 squawk 4544. Expect
So
runway
put in
27.
4,000. Our runway's in there. I'm going to tab down to where it says 5 button. Sometimes it might say 1, sometimes it might say 10. Usually it won't say 10. But that's your flat button. So if you tab past that button one time, you're in a list box. It says it's blank. But if you down arrow, you get 1, 5, 10, 15, 25. We want 10 for flaps 10 on takeoff. So now I'm going to tab down. There's 26L for our arrival airport. Then past that it says full button. That's the flaps for when you're coming in with approach. Then tab past the full button 2 times. It says off button. If you tab 1 time and down arrow, it says off 1, 2, 3 max. That's for your brakes. Always set it to max. Now I'm going to tab. You're going to see a checkbox that says new alt. That's the way it pronounces it, but it's titled wrong. It says if selected, the cockpit will enter barrel barrel vise, it basically puts in the information for RNAV. You don't want to check that unless you're doing an RNAV. Okay, so I'm going to tab down to where it says home. Alright, now you are done with your SID and star. Mostly. Let's go back to it, do Alt Tab, back to your leg page here that we went to by doing Alt G. Now we're on the leg page. Right now I'm looking at it to verify things, to make sure there's no vectors. So far, none. I'm going through all the waypoints here. We're on page 7. Page 8. And there's my frogs for when we start for the star. And now I see a vector right before my ILS waypoint. So what I'm going to do is you go you go down. So basically you're going to go past wherever your vector is, go one line past it, unless the vector's on line 5, then you got to go to the next page. But in this case, vector is on line 1, so I'm going to select line 2 with left off 2 and then left off 1 to get rid of the vector. So I'm going to execute it. Basically that puts the waypoint where the vector was. Right now it says 3000A. I'm gonna put in just 3000 because that is my ILS. So I'm gonna do right soft 1, execute, and there it is. And then I see my ILS waypoint. And then okay, runway 26 left, 59, that's 59 feet, that's the altitude. If I gotta do a go around, there'd be a hold at 4000A if I had to do a go around, which I don't like doing that, so I try to avoid that if I can. Alright, so now the leg page is completely done. First officer does most of the stuff for you. He loads the weather and all that stuff. You don't got to do it. Now I always do my weather on approach. That's not going to be in this tutorial, but if you're watching on the live stream, you'll see where I load the weather when I get ready to start my approach. But that's everything with doing your SID and your star. One of the things I'm going to tell you is if for whatever reason you're flying and you've got to change your approach, maybe you got to put in a different runway and the ILS becomes unavailable and you got to do an RNAV or something. So you'd go back to first officer, go to that plan page button, put in the appropriate stuff that you need to put in there.
Walk around completed.
And then that way when you do your descent flow, it will have the newest information in there. Okay? So now he's working on everything. I'm going to go over and try to tell you kind of loading FMC per Finite page. Yeah, it says PERF perf page. So I can see what I'm looking at. My first officer page. I'm just watching what he's doing here. Right now he's loading the FMC with the perfinite page. Only he doesn't put the fuel in there, which is interesting, but he doesn't. Alright, we're waiting for wind requests. He's doing the wind data.
Rook Talon. Sounds pretty simple. But how do you get your IFR if you don't have say intentions?
Hold on 1 second. Alright, he's got the wind request. Now he's loading it. Rook, if you're not flying on VATSIM or have a ATC program, you don't gotta have IFR clearance. You can just not worry about that first altitude for when you first take off and just put in your cruise altitude, because it's going to follow your waypoints anyways, if that makes sense. Okay, he's got the wing lights on, logo lights are on, left and right flight directors are on, auto throttle on.
Rook Talon. Okay, sounds good.
Does that make sense, Rook? And guys, let me know if I hope that I'm doing tutorials okay. I'm doing my best. I hope that I'm doing it in a way that makes sense. I love doing tutorials. I just hope I'm doing a good job. I never get feedback, so I don't know. Alright, now first officer's doing something with the heads up display, which we don't mess with that. Now he's programming the co-pilot FMC.
Flow completed.
Clear cautions.
Pre-flight
Flow is
checklist.
completed, doing
Oxygen.
pre-flight checklist.
Tested. Navigation transfer
Rook
display
Talon.
switches. Normal
Yes,
and auto.
sounds pretty
Window E.
simple.
On. Pressurization mode
Good
selector. Auto.
Now he's just doing a checklist
Flight
here.
instruments. Set. Parking brake. On. Fuel control switches. Cut off. Pre-flight checklist completed.
I'll show you some other cool stuff once we get this out of the way, but we had to wait on him. Okay. Message clear, so that means when you see this on the first officer page, right past radio frequencies, there's a box that you can see what's going on. You tab one time past that radio frequencies button, and that's going to tell you in that box what is going on. Right now it says MSG CLR. I mean, that he cleared the messages. Now he's waiting on me. So what I'm going to do is go back to my leg page. I'm going to do Alt M. That goes to the main menu. Right soft 5. That goes to FS actions. I'm going to do left soft 3 for doors. The only door that needs to be closed is the one on the top left. So left soft 1. I'm going to hit left soft 1. And then left soft 6 to go back a menu. And now we're back to that FS actions menu. I'm going to do Alt G. That puts me back on the leg page.
Initiating before start flow.
So now he's doing another flow. I'm going to put the fuel in after he does these two flows here. I'll go and put our fuel in, and then I'll execute our perfinite page, do our N1 page. It basically has the thrust for takeoff is what that is. Okay, he's firing up the APU while we sit here and sing a song called Picka Picka Boo. I know you, Picka Picka Boo, I know. Oh, my bad. I got some good music, Rook. I don't know if you've heard the music that I've wrote, but I've wrote several songs. I'd love to share them with you as soon as we get up to cruise altitude. If you want to hear a couple of them, I got some that I think they're pretty good. The one that you heard earlier, I wrote that song for pmdg 737. I wrote the song, I just had AI sing it. So I don't let AI write my music, I write it myself, and then I just let the AI do the singing part of it, because I'm not a singer. You feel me? Alright, so if I'm curious what he's doing...
Rook Talon. Yeah, I liked that one you played just before you started streaming.
Yep, that's the pmdg song I wrote. Alright, so he's restarting the APU. Alright, here comes the APU. I just checking to see. 37 seconds. I've probably got 35 songs that I've wrote in the last month. But I don't know if you like country music. Most of it's country, but it's good music. I mean, I think anybody who's been through stuff could probably relate to the music I write. 13 seconds for the APU to restart, baby. Alright. Alright. Fuel pumps. Now hydraulic pumps. Now setting packs. Recirculation fan. Ground power is being disconnected. We're waiting about 10 more seconds for GPU to be disconnected. I hope that those that might be watching this either now or later on, you're watching the video for the tutorial. Please leave your comments. Let me know how you like the tutorials that I leave. And if you need a tutorial on something else, let me know and I'll do my best to help you.
On. MCP. Speed. 151. Heading. 272. Altitude. 330.
I'm also going to do, eventually I'm going to do a tutorial on the 777.
V1.
Once TFM's got the first version of that available.
Checked. CDU pre-flight. Completed. Rudder and aileron trim.
So
free and zero. Anti-collision lights. On.
Now I'm going.
Before start checklist completed.
Okay, so now he's waiting on me. I'm going to the Perfinite page. And on line 2, it says 31.6. That's my fuel. So I'm going to type that in, 31.6. I type that into the scratch pad. There's an edit box on TFM. You should already know that. And then I'm going to go up here to line 2. Hit left soft 2. And there it is. It's in there. Now it says it twice, 31.6. And I'm going to do left soft 3 twice. It says CD number 1 execute available. I'm going to execute with Alt E. That is executed. I'm going to do right soft 6. That goes to the N1 limit page. Here's where I do left soft 2, right soft 2. You do not have to execute on this page. I'm going to do right soft 6 again. Now we're on the takeoff ref page. This is where your flap settings are and your speeds. So on line 1 it says 10 degrees 145. That's for V1. Line 2 147. That's VR. And then line 3 151. That is V2. On line 3 you'll also see where it says your trim setting. It says 25.9%, 4.02. That small number right after the percent number is going to be what you need for your trim. So this says 25.9%. The next number says 4.02. So we're going to do right bracket Control T. And I'm going to just take it down to 4. There we go. It's on 4. Now TFM will let you go lower than that. I don't know why, but pmdg does not want you lower than that. But if I hit my D button, TFM would let you go lower. I'll show you just to give you the example. Right now trim is 4.0. If I hold down my D button on the keyboard, see, I can go as low as I want. But we don't want that. I want to go back up to 4 where pmdg says, hey, this is as low as you can go. Alright. There we go. We're on 4, right? Dead on 4.0. So, and do not tab down to your stab trim. Don't turn that on, because I find that if you turn it on, it's going to give you it's going to be very sensitive. You don't want that. So you got it set. Just do Alt F4, and then on your takeoff rev page, you need to do this just to double check, just to make sure it's all good. You're going to do left soft 3 twice, and you're going to do right soft 1, right soft 2, and right soft 3. All that's doing is verifying the takeoff speeds, okay? And then I'm going to do Alt R to refresh. We're good. I'm going to do Alt G. That's the leg page. Now we're done with the CDU for a minute. We're going to go over to Microsoft, and I'm going to connect to ground with say intentions. So I'm on say intentions. Alright, so I tuned ground, and I'm going to hit my mic button and or not ground, I'm sorry. I'm wanting to tune to ramp. That's where I'll be requesting, and hopefully sometimes the tug messes up. Let's hope it doesn't. But it has in the past a few times, but hopefully it doesn't. That way I can really give you guys the full experience of this. Alright, so I'm going to hold key up and ask for a tug. GSI, Niner Delta Whiskey, requesting tug.
Ground to flight deck. The tug is on its way.
Alright, tug's on its way. I'm going to keep it on this channel until I'm no longer in communication with ramp about the tug.
Gold Star International Niner Delta Whiskey. Bypass pin inserted. Just let me know when you're ready to start the pushback.
Okay, once he says that, now you can release, and I'd already asked him what the tail's going to be northeast. Again, we're still at the same spot. Normally you're going to connect to ground, request pushback with startup, and he's going to give you that. We already did that, but then I had to come back. So we're just going to act like I already did it again. So I'm going to release the parking brake with control and then the period on the numpad. So parking brake's off. I'm going to key up, and this is what you're going to say. Parking brake released, ready for push tail northeast.
Ground to flight deck. Alright, release the parking brake now. We're going to start pushback facing northeast.
Alright. Then I'm going back over on first
Ground to flight deck.
officer
Cleared for
and
engine start
tabbing
in
to the
sequence.
start button. He said go ahead and start, so we're going to hit spacebar on start.
Starting engines.
And there we go. Now
Starting
we're doing our
engine two.
pushback.
Captain, the cabin is ready for departure.
Now my flight attendant's going to do her safety message.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this flight from San Diego to Miami with our virtual airline. Our captain today is Captain John, and assisting him is First Officer J.D. I'm Lisa, your lead flight attendant, and joining me today are my fellow crew members, Emily, Michael, Sarah, and David. We're here to ensure you have a comfortable and safe journey. Our estimated flight time is approximately 4 hours and 12 minutes. Before we take off, I'd like to take you through our safety procedures. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal fitting into the buckle and tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release, lift the upper portion of the buckle.
Engine 2
We
started.
recommend keeping your seatbelt fastened at all times
Engine 2 cut
while
out.
seated. In the event of a sudden cabin pressure change, oxygen masks will drop from
And then
the
he's going to
handle
come back on and tell us
Pull
when
the
to
mask
set the
towards
parking
you
brake.
to start the flow of oxygen. Place it over your nose and mouth and secure it with the elastic band.
Starting
Remember
engine
to
1.
put on your mask first before assisting others. Your life vest is located under your seat. In case of a water landing, remove it from the pouch, slip it over your head, and fasten the straps around your waist. Inflate the vest by pulling down on the red tabs or blowing into the tubes at shoulder level. This Boeing 737-900 is equipped with 8 emergency exits, 2 at the front, 4 over the wings, and 2 at the rear. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit, keeping in mind it may be behind you. In an emergency, floor lighting will guide you to the exits. Thank you for your
Gold
attention.
Star International
I
Niner
wish
Delta
you a
Whiskey,
pleasant
ground to
flight.
flight deck. Pushback complete. Please ensure parking brakes are set. Standing by for confirmation of good engine start and report when ready for disconnect.
Okay, so we're stopped.
Engine 1 started.
So we're gonna
Engine 1 cut out.
set our brakes. And then we'll wait for this to say engines are good. He might have already said it.
All engines stable.
There we go. Now I'm going to key up. Parking brake set. Engines are stable. And that's going to tell him to release the tug.
Alright, we're disconnecting now. Stand by.
Now, while he's doing that, I'm going
Before
to tell
taxi.
my co-pilot to request taxi. You can go ahead and request taxi.
I'll contact ground for taxi clearance.
And your co-pilot will do all the communicating for you.
Lindbergh ground, Gold Star Niner Delta Whiskey, ready
I'll
to
show you
taxi.
that
We
in a
have
minute.
Charlie.
Gold
Clear
Star
on the
Niner
right.
Delta Whiskey,
Clear on the
Lindbergh
left.
ground.
Rook
Taxi
Talon.
to runway
Flow
27 via
Do
Hotel
you
Charlie.
worry about this if
Charlie
you
Before
don't
taxi,
have
check
say
cross runway
intentions?
27,
Generators.
then Bravo 4,
On.
Bravo Delta.
Bogey. Auto.
Um,
Isolation valve.
that's a good
Runway
question.
27.
Auto.
Hold
Hotel
on one
Charlie,
second,
Charlie
and
4,
I will answer
cross
that.
27,
Continuous.
then Bravo 4,
Recall.
Bravo, Delta,
Checked.
Gold Star Niner
Auto
Delta
brakes.
Whiskey.
Rejected takeoff. Flight control test.
All right. Yoke to the left,
Full left.
back to center.
Neutral.
Yoke to the right,
Full right.
back to center.
Neutral.
Yoke straight back,
Full back.
back to center. Yoke forward,
Full forward.
and back to
Check.
center.
Brake test. Checked.
That was a good
Before taxi
question,
checklist
Rook.
completed.
If you don't have say intentions, you can do your pushback, but you don't got to worry about requesting taxi, all that stuff, unless you're on, unless you're using the live ATC, like, oh my goodness. If you're not doing anything with ATC, don't worry about it. Okay, just do your, really, if you're not even doing if you're not doing anything with ATC, you could even start your engines there at the gate. You don't even got to do that. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're ready for taxi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to first officer. And I'm hitting the pause button. The reason is when I reposition, sometimes first officer will think you're landing and it will start doing a flow for landing, and we are not landing. So I paused it for the time being. I'm going to do right bracket control R. Whoops. That's jumped the runway, so I'm going to put in K SAN. And then I'm looking for 27. Our parking brake is set, so we shouldn't have no problems when we jump. Once I hit enter, I'm going to instantly go to first officer and unpause it so it can continue its flow.
On runway 27.
Alright, I unpaused it. Sometimes first officer does not do the flow like he's supposed to.
Gold Star International 9
Like
Delta
right
Whiskey,
now, he's
contact
not
tower on
doing the flow.
8.3.
He's supposed to. So I'm going to alt tab on first officer for before takeoff flow.
Before takeoff flow.
And then while he's doing that, I got to load FS Airlines monitor.
Flow completed. Before takeoff checklist.
Monitor my
Flaps.
flight.
Sit. Stabilization trim. Sit. Transponder. Sit. Cabin crew. Cabin crew prepare for takeoff. Notified. Before takeoff checklist completed.
I'm just setting my FS Airlines real quick. Alright, so FS Airlines is ready to monitor us. I'm going to tell co-pilot we're ready for takeoff.
I'll contact tower for takeoff clearance.
And then I'm going to give her the comms here in a second as well.
Lindbergh Tower, Gold Star 9er Delta Whiskey. We have information, Charlie, ready for takeoff from runway 27.
Gold Star 9er Delta Whiskey, Lindbergh Tower, runway 27, winds 235 at 9er, gusting 15, RNAV jetty, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 27,
Alright,
RNAV jetty,
flaps
cleared
10.
for takeoff. Gold Star 9er Delta Whiskey.
Now I'm going to give her the comms. Giving comms to you. And she's going to handle all the ATC communication for me.
Alright, John, I'll handle the comms from here on out.
See there? Alright. Parking brake is off. Make sure your trim, read trim is disabled with right bracket shift T. So right bracket shift T, read trim disabled. And then right bracket, left bracket for attitude mode. You want that on so you can hear what speed you're going. And here we go, activating Toga with control shift G is in golf.
Thrust that. Checked. Speed alive. Checked.
80 knots.
80 knots. Checked.
V1, rotate. V2.
B1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up.
Positive rate.
Gear up. Lateral navigation. Flaps 5. Vertical navigation. VNAV on. Autopilot. Command A on.
And there we go. So as far as the code and dart tutorial, I'm going to stop the video
Gold
here.
Star International 9er
We're
Delta
still going to
Whiskey,
be
contact
live,
departure on
but the
9er.6.
video part ends now.
Switching
Acceleration
to
altitude.
departure on 9.6. Gold Star 9er Delta Whiskey.
If anybody has questions on the tutorial, you can email me 737flights@gmail.com. I'd be glad to help you.
SoCal
I hope
departure,
this
Gold Star
helps you
9er
get up
Delta
in the
Whiskey,
air.
afternoon. We're climbing
And,
past 1000.
Again, any questions, please let me know. There will be another
Gold Star 9
short
Delta Whiskey,
video
SoCal departure, radar contact. Clear direct jetty.
just showing
Climb and
you
maintain flight level 200.
a small tutorial on landing. So
Clear direct jetty.
if
Climb and
you
maintain
did
flight
the
level
first
200.
tutorial
Tell
for
'em.
Code
Gold
Dark,
Star 9 Delta
Thanks
Whiskey.
so much.
you are
Sounds
doing
pretty
a
simple.
flight, then you might be watching that next video for landing. That's coming up when we get close to landing. So appreciate you guys. Those that are alive, stay here. I'm not leaving. We're just ending the recording part of it. Appreciate you guys that might be watching the video, and we'll talk to you soon.